Welcome to Math 24/7, Equations and Inequalities. This is a grade 6, lesson 3, one-step multiplication and division. So just like with addition and subtracting one-step equations, same thing holds true for multiplication and division. Whatever you do to whatever happens on one side has to equal the same side so that you keep the equation balanced. And as you notice, we have some more scales here that are keeping the sides balanced. So using what we already know about multiplication and division, let's see if we can fill these in and keep them balanced. So 16 is on this side. I'm going to use red. 16 is on this side, so 4 times a number equals 16. Well, we know our multiplication table, so we know this has to be 4. 4 times 4 is 16 on this side, and 16 is 16 on this side. We need something times 3 to equal 21. Well, I know 3 times 7 is 21, so that keeps those equal. On this side, 36 divided by 6 has to equal something over here that keeps them both equal. And the answer to this division problem is 6. And again, you can see visually that both sides are equal. And if I put a little equal sign in between each one of those, it's just like an equation, and all equations have to stay balanced. So, solving one-step equations using multiplication and division is exactly the same process. So again, the variable, which is the letter, has to be alone, or we can say it's isolated. On one side of the equation. We're going to isolate the variable using the inverse or opposite operation. And in this case, plus and minus were opposites. In today's lesson, we're going to talk about multiplication and division. Those are also inverse. Okay? We're going to keep our equation balanced. And we're going to check our solution, our answer, okay, by plugging our answer back into the original equation. So here we go. Same sort of thing happening here. So we have 3 x's on this side. So our equation is 3 times x, or 3x. Remember, a letter next to a number means multiplication, equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12, okay? So in this case, we are going to divide by 3, right? So there's 1, 2, 3 of those. We're going to divide by 3. We're going to divide by 3, okay? And so x is equal to 4. And you can kind of see that visually, okay? Plus, we also know our multiplication tables, so that also makes it a little easier. And the next one, we have 2 x's. And they equal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? And we're going to break this because there's 2 of them. So we need to know how many each one of these are worth. Whoops, let me go back here. 1, 2. So every x is worth 3. Over here, we're going to say we have 1, 2, 3, 4 x's. 4 x's, I always like to do the x's first, but it doesn't matter, equals 2. So we have to break these into 4 pieces. So that means I need a half, a half, a half, and a half. So each x in this one is worth a half, or 0.5, whichever you prefer. So now we're going to go one step, and here's a visual. We know that this one is equal to this bottom one. So our equation is 3r's are equal to 15. Okay. And we know that if we break 15 into 3 pieces, because we know our multiplication tables, we know that 15 in 3 pieces, that our r is going to equal to 5. 5, 5, and 5 is 15. Next we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 t's equal 88. Okay? Well, again, we know our multiplication table, so we know if there are 8 of these and there's 88 altogether, t has got to equal 11, because 11 times 8 is 88. So now let's go on to how we would mathematically do this without any pictures, without any algebra tiles. So right here, the x is being multiplied by 3. Remember we talked about the inverse operations. Division and multiplication are opposite. Okay, so those are what we're going to be talking about today. So 3 times x equals 12. Well, the opposite, here's where the x is. The opposite of multiplying by 3 is to divide by 3. And remember, whatever we do to one side, we must do to the other. When you're doing an operation like this, now you're dividing. 3 divided by 3 is 1, so that cancels out and leaves you with just x. And then we do 12 divided by 3 is 4. And we know 3 times 4 equals 12. So we know here we can put our 4. And I do want you to write this part that I did and do the crossing out and doing it to both sides, because eventually you're going to be doing multi-step, 2-step, 3-step, and larger. And you have to be able to keep everything organized. Okay? Number 7 says x divided by 2 equals 16. Remember, I told you you're going to start seeing division look more like a fraction, which is what fractions are. But now we're going to start making the connection of solving these equations. You aren't going to see this division sign so much anymore. So the opposite of being divided by 2 is we're going to multiply by 2. Okay, and I'm going to put it like that. And those are going to cancel out. And that's also going to be multiplied by 2. X is going to be equal to 32. Let's put it in there. 32 divided by 2 equals 16. And 32 divided by 2 does equal 16, so we did do it correctly. This says 75 is equal to 5 times x. So what is happening to x? It's being multiplied by 5. The opposite of multiplying by 5 is to divide. So again, when you do divide, just divide both sides by using the fraction bar. Okay. And so 5 divided by 5 cancels out. You are left with x. And 75 divided by 5 is 15. And if we go 75 equals 5 times 15, we do get 75. And there's our number. The next one is 12 is equal to x being divided by 4. The opposite of dividing is to multiply, so we're going to multiply both sides by 4. And that is all you need to do to write it. Those will cancel out. You're left with x. 12 times 4 is 48. So now 12 is equal to 48 over 4. If you do divide it out, we are correct. So 48 is our answer. Again, a little more practice as we get going. If you want to stop and try these before I go on to see if you know what you're doing, that's a good way to check yourself, and then you can kind of watch it. If not, you're still not quite sure, continue watching. So we have 9 times x equals 126. So what's happening to x? Well, it's being multiplied by 9. What's the opposite operation of multiplication? Division. So we're going to divide both sides by 9. And 126 divided by 9 is 14. So now we do 9 times 14. This is how we're checking it. And when we do this out, it does equal 126. So x is equal to 14. Number 11, 8 is equal to x divided by 7. Okay, the opposite of dividing by 7 is to multiply by 7. So those cancel out. X is equal to 56. And 8 is equal to 56 divided by 7. And we are going to put 56 right there. Okay. Number 12, x is being divided by 15, so x divided by 15 equals 7. The opposite of dividing by 15 is to multiply by 15. The 15s cancel out, we're left with x, and 7 times 15 is 105. So if we put this back in, equals 7, sorry, I had a brain cramp there. It does come out to 7. 105 divided by 15 is 7, and so our answer is 105. And our last one, 120 equals 10 times x. Probably you can do this in your head. I'm sure that you can. You know your times tables, but we're still going to follow the procedure. So x is being multiplied by 10, so to get rid of the 10, we have to do the opposite. 10 divided by 10. Do whatever you do to one side, you must do to the other. The 10s cancel out, we're left with x, and 120 divided by 10 is 12. So if we go back over here, 120 is 10 times 12, and we will put our number in here. So remember, same thing, we're going to go back to the beginning here and remind you that find your variable, figure out what is happening to the variable, and we want to isolate it. We want to get it by itself. To isolate it, we use the inverse operation. To keep it balanced, whatever we do to one side, we must do to the other. And then once we have a solution, we go back and check and make sure that it does actually work. If you need any help, let me know. If not, go on to your homework. Have a great day.